Right, so now we're very lucky to have Lyall joining us, and Lyall is currently a designer working for Easylife Kitchens in Edenvale. Lyall, thank you very much for giving us your time. Let's start off by asking you, as a guy, because at the moment we are quite female heavy in the kitchen design sector. As a guy, how did you end up in kitchen design, and why did you choose to stay in it and make it your current career path?
So before I got in the kitchen industry, I actually got a degree in psychology, and a second major in forensics, so criminology and that. And I worked for a lot of private universities and private institutes, places like CTI, CTU, Vega, just to name a few. And guiding kids into career paths and stuff like that. And I felt that I'd kind of hit my pinnacle, you know. I wanted to branch out, get more of a challenge, and put my psychology more to use. And lo and behold, I met Ernest, and I had the opportunity to have an interview, and he arranged it with Carl. Carl did the interview, and that was almost 10 years ago. So that's how I got into that.
Wow. Okay, that's a total career diversion. So for a lot of people who are thinking it's ever too late to enter the industry, obviously it's not. But
No.
then linking that to skill sets. Obviously, you joined the kitchen industry, you knew nothing about kitchen design, etc., and you were trained on the job. So maybe you can share a little bit about how, if you don't know a lot about kitchen design, you can actually learn on the job and be trained by your employer.
Absolutely. I mean, I had what I thought was no design skill whatsoever. I knew how to talk to people. I knew, you know, how to engage and present a product in that. But as for the designing in that, I absolutely had no knowledge of design, no knowledge of kitchens, no knowledge of hinges or anything like that. So, you know, the Easy Life franchise has quite an amazing program getting you into it, and it's about a week-long program. It was almost 2 weeks when I did it back in the day, but you know, you go in there and it's intensive with studies and stuff like that, but it's very rewarding. It's very helpful, and they gave us the platform that we needed to get into the industry and hit the ground running. So yeah, you know, from knowing nothing, within 2 weeks, I could pretty much stand on my own 2 feet and do what I needed to do.
I mean, that's great to know, because I think a lot of students worry that if they haven't maybe done in depth on kitchens when they're studying, that how can they go into it as a career? But the fact that a lot of kitchen companies do have really good in-house programs to get you trained up, and they often like to train you themselves so that you don't get any bad habits from someone else. So that's good for students to know when they are planning where to go for their careers. Average day, give us an idea of what your average day consists of, because obviously it's not just design, it's sales as well. So let's hear what an average day in Lyall's life is like.
So an average day is obviously getting in quite early. We only start at 8:30, but I'm usually in just after 7 every morning. Gives me an opportunity to sit, go through my day's plans, go through my emails and that. So what I do is I have a look what appointments I have for the day, what measure ups, what clients I need to see. Am I going out to see a client? Have I got a client coming in? And then obviously just prepping for the client, making sure the design is ready if they're coming in, making sure all my samples are out and presented and ready for them, and then presenting through to them. And then, you know, just following up with certain clients that you need to. So we've got our leads file, if you want to call it that. So you go through that, see what's the last client you spoke to, what the feedback was, when you need to follow up with them again, and pretty much just following up with them, staying on top of your designs, making sure that you're up to date with your clients. If you've got installations that are currently happening, you know, popping into site, making sure that everything is on track there, that there's no issues or hiccups. And that's pretty much it, day in and day out.
And then your earning potential. Yeah, are there good opportunities to earn a solid salary as a kitchen designer?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I've been fortunate enough to be with the company for 10 years. I've been fortunate enough to actually get the prestigious achievement of being a top performer. So, you know, if you put the work in and you're willing to go the extra mile, you you earn a very good salary. There's no two ways about it. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure the students will be very glad to hear that because your jobs are in scarce supply, and the kitchen industry is an area where we're still looking for people. So the fact that you can earn and get a job fairly easily in our industry is good news for them. From a skill set perspective, what do you think is the most important skill to have if you're looking to enter our industry?
I think one of the most important skills will definitely be being an extrovert to a sense, you know, being a people's person, because that's ultimately where your bread and butter lies, your criteria. You have to connect with the individuals that you're designing for. If you're not really a people's person, you might find it very difficult to make that connection and get that bond and that going. At the end of the day, people buy from people. So it's not really the product they're buying. If they buy into you and they like you as an individual, that's already half the battle won. So being a people's person, very, very important, I believe. Um, with regards to design and that, yeah, obviously an element of creativity. You've got to have some sort of creativity. You've got to be able to put out those designs that the clients and they'd appreciate and they like, and you've listened to them, and having said listening, very good listening skills, because when you ask the questions and the clients tell you this is what we want, make sure that you design something that they've requested, not something you think they will like. So being a people's person, being able to listen and having an element of creativity, the rest you can learn, eh?
If we look at kitchen design, you work for a company, Easylife Kitchens.
Yeah.
I think there is a notion that it's always kitchens 24/7, that it's not sexy, it's not glamorous, you don't get to be adventurous with your designs. Can you debunk that notion for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I first started, I thought it was, you know, just kitchens, cupboards on the walls. But slowly, the industry's evolving. There's a lot more open plan. You know, it's clients are coming in and saying, hey, I want a wow factor. And if you're just slapping cupboards on the wall, there's no wow factor. So they give you that element of creativity, and 90% of the time they appreciate it. So it's not just kitchens. Guys are coming in. I had an old couple, Colin and Sheila Kemp. I'll never forget it. About 7 or 8 years ago. And when I say old, they were in their 60s or 70s. And they actually chose colors green, blue, pink.
I think we lost Lyall there. There he goes back.
Okay.
There we go.
I don't know what happened there.
We heard up to green, blue, pink.
So they chose the most retro colors you could come up with. No cupboards on the wall, just 32 mil boxes placed everywhere, and glass splashbacks in all these different colors. So you get those colors that, or those clients that allow you to completely think out the box. And I think that's also quite a pivotal thing here, being able to think outside of four walls and saying, you know what, if I just give you cupboards on the wall, it's going to look kind of bland. But if I give you this cupboard with these shelves and this display box, and, you know, so you go from bars, kitchens, built-in cupboards, TV units, you pretty much name it. There's not much that we don't tackle.
So speaking about design, I believe you've got a job that you're going to share with us. So Lyall is going to walk through this particular favorite job of yours, and you're going to tell us a little bit about why it was so special.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's one we've just recently done. We almost finished. It's an export job. It was for a client of mine up in Botswana. I've been fortunate enough to do quite a lot of work with them. And one of the reasons this was so special is it's actually done on a game farm. So the house is completely see-through from one side to the other. They've removed all the game fencing. So whether you're sitting in the kitchen or whether you're sitting in the lounge or the bedrooms, you actually just see wildlife all around you. So it was quite a special project to know that it's going in there, and it complemented that environment, because as a youngster, I grew up in Botswana. So it holds a special place with me, and to do such an amazing project there for such amazing clients and amazing people, it was really something special.
It's such a good example of it's not always just going to be a suburban residential four walls projects to go into the kitchen industry. It's such a broad scope of work.
Absolutely. I mean, there's from companies, there's residential, there's game farms. I've done work for a restaurant out of Malibongwe. So, you know, as long as the product is applicable to the client, there's no stopping what you can do.
All right, so you can share your screen with us, Lyall, and we can just have a look.
The screen. Let's just start here. Let me quickly get to it for you.
Okay, so this also shows the typical hardware, software that you guys use, which is Winner from CompuSoft. And I think it's pretty typical to a lot of kitchen companies. It's tailor-made sort of for the industry.
Yeah. So what you don't see so much as all of this is open, and all of that is open. It's got the stacking doors in that, but it's basically one massive open plan kitchen that even has a ride built into the kitchen right at the end.
Nice.
Massive table. You've got your scullery and kind of your pantry. So
and did they give you an exact brief on the finishes, scopes, materials that you need to stick to?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was quite a long process. There was a lot of talking back and forth. There was a lot of site visits and meetings, samples that were made, color palettes that were presented. So there definitely was, you know, there was an interior designer involved as well. So there was a lot of input from everyone, including the builder. So it was a big team effort. So just to give you what the rendered look of the project was, this was the actual kitchen, which is all open plan. You go through into the scullery, and then from there we just went into one massive pantry with walk-in freezers, etc.
Obviously, being so in the bush, they also need a lot of storage space. So I'm sure that was part of the brief. Yeah.
Absolutely. So storage space was essential. Hence, all of these are tall units.
Yeah.
We kind of minimized. The only reason we kept this here is, like I said to them, I understand you need storage space, but you know, you're also the professional. You've got to advise your clients on that. And it's like I said to the clients, you're going to need somewhere to pack your groceries first before you put them into a cupboard. And that's why we had the counter of almost 2.5 meters here, just so that they had space to pack. So if you look from there, we did built-in cupboards for them as well.
What materials did you guys use for these full color carcasses?
So we use custom colors from Kitchen Craft. So it's another reason it's my favorite product, because I absolutely love Craig and I love the Kitchen Craft industry. So we used monocoats, white oak veneer monocoat here, painted doors. The kitchen is all custom paint with veneer monocoats. So these are still the renders. This was the other house I did for the same clients. This is up north in Kisani on the Caprivi Strip. So where Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Namibia all meet. This is a house out there that we did for them. This is the actual installation.
And Lyall, when you do a export job like this, you know, you've made the beautiful design, you've quoted them, they've accepted the quote, but it doesn't end there. Then you need to go into the logistics of it, of getting the installers out there, getting the stock out there.
Correct. So 99% of the time, the guys who do exports already have some sort of trucking or exporters on board with them. So it's a case of, when we do it, we need to make sure that everything is here. So we pre-check before we arrange collection. Then we arrange collection with them. We then double check that everything that's been ordered is loaded onto the truck. We get them to sign it off. Then we wait for, obviously, the courier company or the transporter to get it to them. Once it's there, we then, well, before it even gets there, we then find out which of our fitters are going. We obviously send the passports and everything through, copies of it. They then make the necessary arrangements for their visas. They arrange accommodation, they arrange food, and obviously they pay the transport for the fitters to get there. So like you say, it doesn't just end there. It's quite a process to get the guys out there and to make sure everything's on point, because, you know, you have to make 100% sure, because with an export job, if there's one thing that's not there or wrong or something, it's not like it's just around the corner. You can find the guys to deliver. It's quite a process to get it there again. So all of this was wrap, but then this now is installation of that other kitchen I showed you now. So not renders, now we're actually looking at the installation. You can see they're still building in the background. So we even custom had this table made. So that's the nice thing about this, is it's not just cupboards and stuff like that. If you need a really special table or something, you know, we've got the various suppliers that we can contact and they do it for us. So you can just up your ante of your design.
Yeah, you can really see those, your winner drawings so well translated over to the photos. I mean, it looks exactly like you showed the client. Absolutely.
That's such a nice thing about winner, and when you render, there's very minimal color differences and stuff like that. It's almost on point. So hypothetically, if your client wanted a green floor or something, you could actually make the floor green and show them what it'll look like with their color palettes and the cupboards and that they want to choose. So you can help them really visualize the end product.
That's why good software and good quality renders are so important.
Oh, absolutely. It makes life so much easier, because you don't get a client that comes back and says, hang on, you showed me this and this is what it looked like. It's almost, now with the technology nowadays, they say, you know what, this is exactly what you showed me. I'm so happy about what you've installed.
Well, it's a beautiful project. Congratulations. It really does look stunning.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you can see the wildlife in the background, or I was saying,
the open space.
Open space and the game fences down, and it was just a phenomenal project. It was such a pleasure to work with.
Awesome.
That's absolutely stunning. And actually, what I was thinking is, when you were taking us through your renders, I mean, I know a lot of the students work on very generic software, but when you work on a software that is specifically designed for interiors and kitchens, that walkthrough you were able to do is so helps the client conceive the space. Because when you show them flat drawings, they really do battle to get their head around and conceive what they're actually going to get. And when you're able to do almost a 3D walkthrough, the client understands the space and what you're saying. So if you can get to a point as a student, even if you find out if you can experiment and try with a test of specific software, it's really, really beneficial just to put into your CV that you have played with some of the key, whether it's a CompuSoft or whether it's an ArchiCAD, whether it's a CAD plus T or a Cabinet Vision, that you've played with some of the bigger software names in our industry.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Last question, last question before we let you go, because we've stolen a lot of your morning already.
Yeah, thank you.
The one piece of advice you'd give to students, would you, first of all, what advice would you give them? And secondly, would you encourage them to consider kitchen design as a future career?
Sure. What advice would I give them? Sure. So let's answer the second one first. With regards to would I recommend it? In my opinion, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing more rewarding than having your clients come back to you and say, you know what, I absolutely love this. When you see that, you know, it's, like you say, it's one thing to see it on a render, it's another thing to see it fully installed. And when you see that satisfaction and that happiness that you've brought to that client, it's made that whole project so worthwhile. And there's no project that's ever the same. So, you know, there's no mundane monotony in the industry. It's every design has its own unique challenges and everything is different, which makes, you know, it's special. It's probably why I've been in the industry for so long, because it's always a challenge. The advice I'd give to them is, if you want to bring joy to people and you love dealing with people, and it's, you know, you can handle, look, there is stress, so make sure that you can handle the stress. It's part of the job. But if you can handle it and you want to make good money and enjoy what you do. I mean, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't have been here for 10 years. So I would say make sure you enjoy what you do, stick it out, make sure that you can handle the stress, and the rewards are there. You know, the job is very gratifying. So
awesome. Lyall, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for letting us steal some time this morning. I'm sure students have enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thanks,
so much.
Lyall.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.